What's up, everybody? I'm Carson Field. He's Ethan Schmidt. Welcome to the semester finale of Devils in Detail. I know, we both cried our eyes out prior to coming on set, but I think we have a good show planned for the last one of 2018.
Yeah, Carson, it's been such a fun time, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. Well, we've got lots of ASU sports to talk about today as basketball is underway, Sun Devil hockey is ranked for the first time ever, and much more. But first, let's see what Richard Girafo has for us from last Saturday's ASU football game.
Welcome to Tempe, Arizona, where this afternoon we have a crucial game in the Pac-12 South. Arizona State comes into today riding high, fresh off of an upset win over a top 15 team and in control of their own fate in the Wild South Division. Their opponent, the UCLA Bruins, are still searching for that first marquee win under head coach Chip Kelly, a team hungry to play spoiler in the desert.
Southern Regional California, number 43, Jalen Harvey. Casey Tucker. And a defensive lineman from St. Louis, Missouri, number 95, Ronell Red. Number 5, Manny Wilkins.
Hey, many more opportunities to make plays. Let's make them.
On a gain of 9 yards, has another fresh set of downs for Arizona State. Speight will get the snap, hand it off right up the middle. A huge hole for Kelly. Speight gets the snap, they're going to run it right up the middle, and Kelly is stopped short of the marker. Great stop for Arizona State. Arizona State trailing 7-3. Wilkins, it's going to be a little touch pass to N'Keal Harry right at the line of scrimmage. Up to the right of Wilkins in the shotgun. Manning, it's an RPO. He's going to keep it himself to the left side. He has room. He has 6. Manny Wilkins keeps it himself and scores a touchdown on the ground. Wilkins puts the Devils on top and a beautiful drive.
You got to see our white jersey. We're going to go where?
He's under pressure. We'll throw across the middle. The catch is made well short of the first down. Kick is up. End over end kick. It fades, no good, off to the right. Wilkins will throw, looking for Harry. It's picked up. Darnay Holmes picks it off, and this is going to be a house call. Pick 6, Darnay Holmes.
Hold him, Roy.
Wilkins back to backs. He's going to throw a quick out. It's Kyle Williams who makes another man miss. He's inside the 25 and barrels his way into the red zone. They're going to give the ball off to Isaiah Floyd, who breaks a tackle inside the 10. Down inside the 5-yard line is Floyd. Minute 5 to go until halftime. Pistol formation. Benjamin behind Wilkins. Manny will throw. It's an out and a touchdown. Nick Ralston with the touchdown reception. The fullback who started the year on defense gets in.
Eno behind Wilkins as well, and Eno in for the ASU touchdown. Another one. Caught by Kyle Williams, a Sun Devil first down at the 20. Manny Wilkins bashes in, another keeper for him, and a Sun Devil touchdown. He's gonna look to air it out, and he goes deep. He looks for it, and it's tapped away by the ASU defense.
Life could take you so many different ways. If you just trust God's plan and just stay the course, good things happen. I'm ecstatic, though. I'm blessed to be a part of this football team. It just means the world to me.
Well, it was definitely an emotional Saturday for ASU football. Carson, this team is on a roll with 3 straight wins. What have been some of the keys to success so far?
Ethan, this team's really been clicking on all cylinders lately, whether that's defense, offense, special teams. Everyone's been rolling, but what stood out to me is mainly how they've performed on offense. The passing game and the running back alike have both been fantastic. Manny Wilkins has finally hit that stride people were expecting him to hit. Benjamin, he broke the single-season rushing record while ASU's been in the Pac-12 or the Pac-10, and that's obviously a tremendous record, but I think a lot of the credit, someone that doesn't get too much recognition, the blockers. The offensive line has done a really nice job this year, and looking ahead, not many of them are that experienced, so they're pretty young. They set up well for the future of ASU football. And
Definitely.
Ethan, this team was able to pull off the victory against UCLA Saturday. What does this mean to sweep the LA schools this year?
Well, it's huge for the program, quite frankly. In Herm Edwards' Monday press conference, he said that there were about 30 kids at that UCLA game, unofficial and official visits. And being able to sweep the USC and UCLA schools means a lot in recruiting, and it goes far looking at years to come. And you and I both know that ASU has had its struggles against the Bruins and the Trojans in years past, and to be able to come away with wins against those big-time programs this year is absolutely huge. So now, Carson, finally, the Sun Devils have 2 critical games left. Pac-12 title game hopes on the line, and now they travel up to Oregon. You know, what is going to be the keys to success for this team in these last 2 games?
They just have to stay disciplined. They haven't been too good on the year this season. They are 1-3. They finally got their first road win of the year at the Coliseum. The Sun Devils took down USC, and the offense looked pretty good that game. N'Keal Harry was N'Keal Harry. And they're kind of need to do that this week against Oregon, because Oregon and Autzen Stadium, one of the most ruckus atmospheres in the Pac-12 and all of college football, honestly. So it will be bitter cold. The fans will be loud. This team's just got to stay confident.
Definitely. Well, now it's time for our Athlete of the Week. This week, it's Lugens Dort. The ASU men's basketball team is off to a 3-0 start, and he's a huge reason why. As one of the new, highly touted recruits on Bobby Hurley's squad, Dort is averaging over 21 points a game. He is shooting over 43% from the floor and leads the team in steals with 7. The Montreal native notched a school record with 28 points by a freshman in a season opener. With flashes of incredible athleticism and skill so far, it's easy to tell Dort is going to be an electric player for the Sun Devils.
Staying on the subject of men's hoops, I'm joined by men's basketball reporter Trevor Booth. And Trevor, ASU's won its first 3 games of the season. What stood out in these early games?
Well, Carson, other than the fact that we've seen Lugens Dort is built like a free safety in the NFL, this team has really come along defensively very quickly. It looked like it was going to take a while when they gave up Cal State Fullerton 94 points, but then in the 2 next games against McNeese State and Long Beach State, 58 and 52 points and some of the best defensive performances in the Bobby Hurley era. I mean, holding a Long Beach State to 16 points in the first half that contended well to UCLA, that plays a really big sign in the conference play. So I expect Arizona State to continue to use this defensive momentum going forward.
Bobby Hurley said the team's identity would come through defense and crashing the boards. What's allowed them to improve each game through that style?
I think it just comes down to ASU unleashing their athletes in this case. The first game, they allowed a lot of one-on-one play that allowed Cal State's Kyle Allman to get going in that game. But in the second and third games, they really brought a lot of traps in the backcourt that opened up opportunities in the open floor. And when you have those opportunities with the athletes like ASU has, that's going to lead to big games like they had. And until they get their shots to fall, they haven't shown to be the greatest shooting team yet. That's the way they're going to have to play going forward.
Now ASU begins a 3-game stretch away from home. First, the Sun Devils head to the Bay Area for a game against San Francisco. Then, they face Mississippi State in the first game of the MGM Resort's main event. What do you think the team's record will be at the end of this stretch?
Yeah, Carson, when ASU went to Las Vegas last year, they came out undefeated and they had some really good wins there. But this year, I just can't see it. When you're playing a Ben Howland-led squad in Mississippi State, you're going to have to be 100% on your A game. And this team has had a couple lapses where they haven't had that so far. So this game is going to continue to develop their discipline in the Mississippi State game, but I expect them to come out 5-1 just because that game's going to be a really tough team.
ASU starts the 3-game stretch Friday against the Dons at 7 p.m. Thanks, Trevor, for coming on the show. Now let's shift the focus from the men's team to the women. Arizona State's women's basketball season is underway. The Sun Devils have already had a tough test early in the season as they took on number 4 Baylor in the showdown on the Res last Sunday and came up just short. Ethan has more on the Sun Devils.
Thanks, Carson. Joining me now is Devils in Detail editor and women's basketball reporter Sam Ficarro. Welcome on for the first time this semester.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, Sam, let's jump right into things. You got to go to the showdown on the Res over the weekend. So what was that experience like?
Oh, it was a really fun experience. I think the team really learned a lot being on the Navajo Reservation. You know, this was really a landmark event for ASU to bring a basketball game to their arena. Their arena was amazing for a high school. Like, the outside of it was beautiful, 6,500 seats. And I don't think the event could have gone any better outside of the result.
Well, let's get to the basketball side of things. Given the fact that Baylor is a top 5 opponent, what did you like about ASU's performance, only losing by 6 points?
Yeah, I think for ASU, it's the three-point game. You know, they made 8 3-pointers in the first half. That really allowed them to get off to a double-digit halftime lead. Just in the second half, ASU cannot score. They were not able to make any buckets. They only scored 12 points in each of the last 2 quarters. Baylor, their best player, Kalani Brown, an All-American, she was in foul trouble in the first half, so that really allowed ASU to get off to a good start. But it was just a struggle. She dominated inside. But I think for ASU, if you would have, Baylor scored at least 100 points in the first 2 games of the season. So I think if you would have told Charlie Turner Thornton you hold Baylor to just 65, I think you would have said ASU would have won that game. So I think there's still a lot of positives you could take away, even though it was a loss.
Oh, yeah. Well said, Sam. And I got one more for you. The season is very young, but in your eyes, what are the realistic expectations for this team as they go through non-conference play?
Yeah, I think for ASU, they probably should be able to win the majority of their non-conference games. They have another top 5 opponent next week in Louisville, next Friday in Las Vegas, so that'll be a tough game. You know, the Cardinals are coming off a Final Four appearance, returning 4 of their starters from last season, so that'll be a tough challenge for ASU, but you know, they have other Power 5 teams in Alabama, Arkansas, and Kansas State. So I still think ASU will be the favorites, and the rest of the way they should be able to enter Pac-12 play with two losses, and that should set up ASU well heading into what is going to be a really tough Pac-12.
Sam Vaccaro, awesome stuff from him. Great to have you on as always. And you can check out his work and the rest of the women's basketball coverage content at devilsindetail.com.
After missing a couple of games with a hamstring injury, former Sun Devil and current Houston Rocket James Harden is on a tear. Harden has averaged 27.4 points per game since returning from the injury. As a whole, the Rockets have underperformed this year. The team is 5-7 with Harden and another star, Chris Paul. But if Harden can keep playing like he has recently, the Rockets can still make the most of this season. Back to collegiate sports we go as I have Nick Zeller-Singh at the desk to talk some ASU volleyball. Nick, welcome in.
How are you doing, Carson?
Pretty good. Nice to have you. The Sun Devils have dropped 10 straight after winning 4 of their first 6 conference matches. What have been some of the problems stemming during this enormous losing streak?
It's been a couple problems. Sonia's been talking about it in the recent interviews, and it starts off with poor serves. The serves have been pretty lackluster as they've been trying to serve it towards their liberos and toward the outside hitters to cause havoc, but it's been going to their setters, and the setters could right off the bat set up the offense, and the defense for ASU is not able to stop this offense with the poor serves.
You mentioned it. A lot of the problems in this streak have stemmed from the Sun Devils offense. What can ASU do to be more productive on the offensive end?
I think they need to spread the attack around a little more. They've been relying on Elise Ford a lot, and last time I was on the show, Elise Ford had about 50% of their kills. And so if you can spread it out to the young people on the court, if you can use Clara Kavinsky and Ivana Yermich, and even Nicole Peterson, who's technically a setter, but if you move her towards an outside hitter, she has a very powerful attacking arm. And if you can use the middle blockers as well, if you use Megan Beatty and Carmen Unzwe, I think it'll cause havoc for some defenses.
Nick, only 4 matches remain on the schedule, and barring something crazy happening, ASU won't be going to the NCAA tournament. What do you expect from these last 4 matches?
You know, it's been a great improvement this year, and it's been fun to watch, but unfortunately, I have them going 0-4 in their last 4 games. They have a very stacked Final 4 games here at home. They have number 25 UCLA right off the bat. Then they have number 14 USC. Then they have to take on number 2 Stanford, who has a great height advantage and just powerful offense. They have basically no weakness when you watch them. And then they finish it off with Arizona, who started off the Pac-12 conference and sweeping ASU.
Thanks for joining me, Nick. Great job as always. Sun Devil hockey completed a sweep of Michigan State last weekend. We go to Ethan for more.
Thanks, Carson. The program received its first ever ranking in the polls at number 18. ASU continues to climb into the national spotlight while racking up wins. Hockey reporter Chase Dryberg joins me now to break down this historic start and more. It's great to have you on, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on today, Chase. Well, we mentioned it already. In a season full of firsts, ASU pulled off a huge sweep over a Big Ten opponent in the Spartans for the first time ever. So, Chase, what were your biggest takeaways from the weekend?
This defense was very good. This weekend they played very well. When you can limit one of the best offenses and one of the best lines in college hockey to 3 goals in 2 games, you played a very good weekend and a very good series. Beyond that, their depth continues to show. You know, the depth that we've talked about all season long and that Coach Powers has continued to preach, they were so good this weekend. All 4 lines contributing on the offensive end, and all of them are buying in to play on that defensive end. They played a very complete game, especially on that Saturday night, and it's looking really good for this program right now.
Well, you talk about offense, it's on fire. The team is averaging nearly 4 goals a game. So how will ASU manage to maintain such a balanced offensive attack going forward throughout the rest of the season?
I don't know if they have to continue to maintain that level of offense because it's going to be hard, especially with the kind of opponents that they have coming up. It's going to be hard to maintain that level of production going forward. But they've just got to stick to the fundamentals. They've got to stick to the fundamentals of, getting that puck in deep, getting after it, continue to apply pressure to the defense, pushing them back onto their heels, and keeping that puck in the offensive zone, and doing what they've done all season long, and that's, continue to own puck possession in every game you play.
Well, everyone knows this guy's name. Sophomore forward Johnny Walker is leading the nation in goals and points. Also, junior goalie Joey Decord has the most saves in the country. This team is doing big things, so do you think these guys can keep this success going and Decord and Walker could potentially bring home some hardware at the end of the season?
Well, Ethan, the Hobey Baker Award at the end of the year is handed out to the most outstanding player in college hockey. Generally, it goes to a skater just because, they own the league somehow. So if Johnny Walker does continue to produce on this kind of level, it's not out of the question that he could win that at season's end. But at the same time, back in 2001, Ryan Miller out of MSU won the Hobey Baker after an outstanding year in Division I. And we both know the kind of NHL career he's gone on to have and continues to have. Of course. So if Joey Decord, especially down the line against teams like Minnesota, Boston University, Boston College, carries this ASU team forward and eventually into that NCAA tournament, and who knows the heights they can reach off his back, it's again not out of the question that Joey Decord can win that either. But at the same time, Coach Greg Powers has done a very good job with this team, and the Spencer T. Penrose Award goes to the most outstanding coach in college hockey. So if he continues to lead this team to a winning season and hopefully getting them an NCAA tournament berth, I think he's a leading candidate for that award.
Well, we will have to see if the Sun Devils can keep this thing rolling. You look at a guy like Chase Dryberg and just know he's going to drop the knowledge. You can check out his content and the rest of our hockey coverage at devilsindetail.com. Well, that's a wrap. I'm glad you could join us this week.
Thanks for tuning in this semester. We'll be back in 2019 with more great shows, but for now, check out the latest in ASU athletics at devilsindetail.com and on Twitter at devils_detail. One last time, he's Ethan Schmidt. I'm Carson Field. This is Devils in Detail.